Well, I think we should get started. So I will just say hi, my name is Sasha and I'm the marketing manager here at the Cloud People. Today I'm really lucky to have you here to host this webinar, Hannes, where we will go and talk, or you will talk about the practical usage of AI on the ServiceNow platform. I will not say that much. I will monitor the chat. We have some polls during this webinar. I really hope you will answer. And then I will make sure that if you have any questions, I will make sure that Hannes will get these questions during the session. Again, welcome everyone. It's really nice to see that many of you. Please write in the chat that the sound and everything is clear. So I know that. If you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out either here or in the mail, marketing@thecloudpeople.com. So I will hand over the word to you, Hannes.
Thank you so much, Sasha, and welcome from me as well, whether it's morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. So my name is Hannes Hirvikallio. I hail out of the Helsinki office of the Cloud People, currently at the home office, if you can see the background here. I'm one of the founding members of the Cloud People 5 years ago, and I'm doing a webinar today around AI and going a bit more into the practicalities of it. So not trying to solve world hunger or the war or anything else with AI. We are focusing on concrete use cases. And based on our discussions with our customers, that's something that they are really, or you guys are really looking for. So what are the practicalities? How do I get started? What are the benefits for me? And we'll delve deeper into that today. The agenda for today's webinar, I saw a lot of familiar faces. I saw a few new faces. So I'm going to do a very, very short intro to the Cloud People. If you've been in our webinars, you've heard this story already, who we are, where do we come from. But it's necessary for the new people who are joining us for the first time to hear our story and why we are different. Then we are going to go into the concrete part of the webinar. So what is the problem statement? Where do we deploy AI? And how do we do it? What are the use cases we are trying to solve through it? And I'm going to go through a solution with screenshots, with a couple of process walkthroughs to understand where that AI component might help us. Then at the end of the webinar, I'm going to switch around the topic a bit, and we're going to talk about our partnership together with Elisa. Elisa, a Finnish telecom company who have been at the forefront of AI together with Microsoft, and what we do together with Elisa, as we are good at ServiceNow or in ServiceNow, they are good in Microsoft. What is the joint value proposition and how does it help our customers? And then, of course, there's a Q&A session at the end, but feel free to post questions in the chat. Sasha will moderate those. And as said, we have a couple of polls running through the presentation. We'd much appreciate if you take time to answer those. Not very difficult questions, simple questions. It will take a couple of seconds of your time.
Just add on here that you can either post them in the question tab or in the chat tab. It's fine.
Good. Thanks, Sasha. All right. As said, a short intro on who we are, where do we come from, who's the Cloud People. So, as stated in my own intro, fairly new company. We've been around the bend for 5 years, approximately. But we do have a lot of experience when it comes to ServiceNow. The whole management team, the consultants, the sales, we have decades worth of experience on ServiceNow. I myself started in ServiceNow sales in 2009. And after that point, I've been talking about ServiceNow and the different possibilities of the ServiceNow platform to Nordic, European, and global customers. So I'm here to say that I've been around a few cases, I've seen some customer situations, and I've probably heard it before, and I'm here to help. But as the company comes into question, we are on the elite ServiceNow partnership level. And what we are mostly proud of is the breadth or the width of our capabilities in ServiceNow. So we currently have 350 plus consultants who have varying levels of certifications. And the biggest certifications that we have are Certified Master Architect and Certified Technical Architect, which are invitation-only certifications. And we happen to have 6 of those alone. And I'm not aware of any other company in Northern Europe who can say that they have the same amount of certification or level of expertise when it comes to ServiceNow. But as a company, yeah, we are pure play ServiceNow. ServiceNow is all we do. That's everything we do. And yeah, we do a lot in ServiceNow. A couple of key differentiators that we have. I think the main differentiator we have is our concept called smart resourcing, and then the Cloudia portal, which then brings the smart resourcing to our customers. So when we started the company, what we tried to do is change the market when it comes to resourcing or getting right people for your projects at the right time, is by being very transparent towards our customers. So we are sharing our consultants' CVs, their availability, their cost information, their CSATs, their experience in different industries and different solutions, and we are giving that information to our customers in our Cloudia portal. And the smart resourcing process basically behind it makes sure that you will have the right person with the right capabilities at the right time during your project. And that's something we are very proud of, and we like to talk a lot about. But if you want to know more about that, there's a separate webinar on that also available. So we can delve more deeply into that one in those webinars. Then last but not least, due to our experience in ServiceNow, we have developed quite a lot of value accelerators, which are pre-packaged mini projects, if you will, to tackle some areas of the ServiceNow platform. And today's topic, AI, is one of those where we have capabilities when it comes to delivering this, but we also have a partner offering, and we have general level knowledge on what ServiceNow AI is, and we're going to share that today. So enough about the company. Let's move on to the actual problem and then the way we are trying to solve that.
Was it time to the poll now, or?
Yeah, please go ahead. Cool. While you're answering your poll, the reason for this question is that the presentation that I'm doing today will focus on the Pro license capabilities of ServiceNow. The Pro Plus license is the one with all the newest bells and whistles when it comes to generative AI. But what I'm showcasing here is the middle ground, if you will, between the standard and the Pro Plus, is where you get started. So a lot of our customers, they haven't invested yet in the Pro Plus licenses. So that's why this question is relevant when it comes to talking about this solution. But cool. Hope you answered the poll. Let's look at the problem statement. So if you work in a service desk or a customer service desk or an internal help desk, you will recognize the fact that a lot of demand, or a large percentage of demand, is fairly unstructured. And by unstructured, I mean it could be phone calls, it could be emails with generic questions, it could be a catalog item or a general inquiry type, which doesn't link up to a service already. So the problem here is the amount of unstructured demand. And that's where we see is that by deploying some automation, currently known as artificial intelligence, we will get the most benefit. And the benefit becomes serving customers faster, reducing the workload of people touching that case, that if we can automate as much as we can, it will help on the volume and also on the customer satisfaction part. Second topic is that most of this unstructured demand is not critical by nature, but it's also very important to understand or identify if a demand is critical, or if it's if the information there is sensitive. It needs a different process. So we cannot just deploy an AI bot to answer all demand. We need to be able to separate the sensitive topics from that sea of unstructured demand and answer those with a human touch. And the solution we are talking about is called issue auto resolution on ServiceNow. And by deploying that, we are saying that we increase speed and we reduce cost, which are paramount to us. And the figures you see here have been from a study of monthly case averages from approximately 550, 560 ServiceNow customers. And you see email is predominantly very large. Catalog items, which can be structured or unstructured in nature, is also fairly large. But then the general inquiries, the phone calls, the chat, or walking in-person discussions, they represent a large chunk. And out of that 3 million monthly case volume, 71% is unstructured. And that is basically the bulk of the case that we are trying to now solve with some degrees of automation. And this is what we're trying to do. So very often the question is, how do I find more information? How do I change my service? Is this the right service that I'm looking at? Please help me forward, Mr. or Mrs. Service Desk, Customer Service, Help Desk. And the answer very often is, here's a link to the service description, or here's the link to your agreement, and here's a change form if you want to have changes, or something else. And today, looking at these very, very simple tasks, if we only focus on the simple tasks, the average response time might be somewhere around 3 to 5 days with 0% of automation. And it takes up a lot of time from the people. It might be very repetitive. It might be a routine inquiry. It might be low complexity, but it's very repetitive. So we get a lot of these questions. But then the goal is to change that 3 to 5 days to 3 to 5 seconds, and then increase the level of automation. And that's what we're here to discuss today. And in the next slides, I'm going to walk through 2 different use cases with a similar start, and then run through how the ServiceNow platform actually supports that. How do we automate in those type of scenarios? All right, let's go for example 1. So, in this case, a customer or an employee, my use cases today are fairly HR, but you can apply that logic to customer service or internal IT request as well. But in my first case, we are getting a request through our email channel, which is very unstructured. You can see on the left-hand side, the employee or customer is inquiring about dental benefits. And in this case, we choose to answer to that customer via SMS. So customer or employee submits a natural language request where our issue auto resolution, the bot that we are discussing today, is triaging the case and is finding some keywords. That's the simplicity here. They are finding keywords, and then they are actually suggesting the solution to this customer. And we are replying to this customer via SMS. Hey, we received your request. Here's something that might help you forward. So that's the basic premise. When we go forward to the request to the resolution process, the end customer is clicking on the link with his mobile phone that was in the SMS, and we open a case view on the service portal or employee center of the ServiceNow instance. The end customer or employee in this question goes through the recommendations, fills out the request form, or looks at the catalog item and then orders it, and then presses submit. And then this closes the original case and creates a new case where we kind of get the SLA trigger, the SLA measurement to be in place. And then the customer is serviced in this case, and it only happened in minutes without the touch of human hand. And it's very important to leave the option for the end customer or employee to always reach out to a human agent if they see that this automatic resolution did not resolve my issue. So that's scenario 1 played out to the T. Let's move on to a very similar solution number 2, or example number 2, sorry. Same starting point. We get an email through, actually requesting the similar or identical question here. But in this case, it's an internal person, and we decide to respond to that person via MS Teams, because in my demo case, Microsoft Teams is the go-to platform for collaboration inside, and we know our people live inside Microsoft Teams. So in short, once again, we are inquiring about a service, in this case, dental benefits, putting the inquiry in. And then when the employee logs into their Microsoft Teams, they are greeted by the issue auto resolution bot saying, hey, we heard your inquiry. Here are some topics that might help you. Please have a look at this. And the employee in this question, as we are all very busy very often, has a look at these suggestions, maybe browses through some of the catalog items or knowledge articles or whatever, is satisfied with the information, but then just leaves the case, forgets about it, and it's just open because they have something more important to prioritize with. So next day comes along, and the issue auto resolution bot on the ServiceNow platform has seen that the employee has browsed through some knowledge articles, has browsed through some catalog items, but they haven't taken the case forward. So the bot is then reminding the employee here is, hey, did my recommendations help you? And then the employee wakes up, yeah, they helped. Is there anything else we can serve you with? Or can you detail the request? And then once again, the case gets closed and the end customer is being served. So 2 similar startups, 2 very different follow-throughs in different mediums, in SMS world and then in Microsoft Teams world. But basically both of them serviced via the same bot, which is called issue auto resolution on ServiceNow. Then, how does it look on the back end? And then I will come back to my statement around sensitive issues. So if you're familiar, and I hope you're familiar with ServiceNow, I hope that's the reason why you're here. But if you're familiar with ServiceNow, this is the backend view. But what you're probably not familiar with is the comment there on the top of the screen, colored in red, which is basically telling to the fulfiller user or a process user, if you like, that we have identified a request from a person which we see that should not be solved by issue auto resolution. So if you see the email body there in the bottom, this person is asking that, hey, I'm missing my paycheck. I haven't seen it in my bank account, and I need to pay my mortgage or my car loan or my house loan. Please help. And then our bot or intelligence on the ServiceNow platform is actually recognizing some of the keywords here, saying that this might be a case that needs human attention. The end customer might not be satisfied if we just send them something on a benefit plan, or we send them to the knowledge base. So once again, we are kind of taking the cases that matter, but also using artificial intelligence to identify these cases so that we can triage, or we can separate the unstructured bulk demand and then an unstructured, very specific demand, which in this case is very sensitive. So that's how it works in the back end. And a couple of business outcomes that we have seen when deploying either issue auto resolution or the ServiceNow broader intelligence, the Now Assist. And I think the key takeaway here, or the key business outcome, is that we are able to deflect a lot of the routine inquiries. As you remember from my initial slide, the volume of unstructured demand with routine and repetitive tasks is fairly large. So if we tackle that part and automatically deflect those requests to be serviced automatically, we free up a lot of time for the backend. I think this is a no-brainer to everybody here listening. That's kind of what we're trying to solve here. Moving on, the way we see is improving customer satisfaction. And it could be improving it by reducing time to response, or by introducing customers to ask help in their own natural language. Talking with the bot in their own natural language, getting answers with their own natural language, and they are using the channels that are most convenient to them. If you remember in my examples, it was the SMS and the Microsoft Teams example that we have deployed in the examples here. Plus, the CSAT is, in our view, increased because the response is almost real time, and with enough data, with enough clarity into the AI, we're actually getting the answers right as well. Escalations on sensitive issues, that's the benefit of the IAR bot, is that we're able to identify sensitive topics and separate them from the bulk topics. And then in the end, cost savings and time savings. Reducing time to respond, So yeah, not waiting 3 to 5 days anymore for a response or a day. We can get to the response and getting the case forward within seconds or minutes. And then a process benefit or a process outcome is we are able to improve our service catalog, our knowledge repository, our knowledge bases by identifying gaps. What do we have or have not have in the self-service content based on the demand from our user population. And that way we get to get that data, improve what is missing, what needs improvement, and then be a more productive service desk or a help desk to our customers. And before moving on to the second part of the webinar, which is the partnership together with Elisa, a couple of key takeaways or do's and don'ts, if you will. So before embarking on a journey like this, you need to have a bit of maturity when it comes to service catalogs, the contents of the service catalog, and the usage of service catalog. Plus, you need to have an adequate knowledge repository. Because if we are trying to deflect the cases to a service catalog, order or change here, or please have a look at this might help you, that repository needs to be in somewhat of a good shape. Otherwise, we're just frustrating the end users. So our fairly strong recommendation is that have a service catalog, have a request fulfillment process and content in place, and have a knowledge management content and practice in place. Internal resourcing part. You need to put a team, not dedicated by any means, but you need to have a team who is supporting the AI initiative, whether it's labeling data on your data repositories, or whether it's enhancing integrations, or whether it's just helping with the onboarding of customers to talk to our AI bots. But there needs to be an internal resourcing for this initiative. It's not just something you buy from ServiceNow or the cloud people in question and then run with it. You need to have a staff who's actually looking after this whole initiative. And I'm happy to say a lot of our customers are putting teams in place who have responsibilities in deploying AI to the user population. Then I think third, and might be the most important one, is that you need to have a critical mass or high volume of routine inquiries. Because if you don't have the routine answers, if you don't have the knowledge base and the catalog repository in place, there's nowhere you are deflecting those inquiries to. It might be a channel issue, it might be a content issue, but you need to have a high volume or a critical mass of routine general inquiry cases that you can then shift using AI. And then last but not least, feedback to your development partner. we are happy to help you forward. I'm going to talk about Elisa in a minute. I'm pretty sure they would say the same thing. But providing an almost real-time loop towards your development partner is very important here. Because as said, it's not just a plugin that we enable in your ServiceNow instance. It is a journey. And we use building blocks to develop this, and then we go from there. Good. I think, Sasha, it was time for another poll, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I will publish it now. Also remember to ask questions in the chat or the question tab if you have any. We would, or Hannes will answer these.
I'm happy to see at least nobody has dropped out until this point, so I might be making sense here.
So there it is.
Cool. And this question, I'm pretty sure I will know beforehand what the answer here is, because ServiceNow's AI capabilities are fairly new. So a lot of the customers are still thinking about this, but it would be interesting for us to know that if you are, or if you have implemented the AI capabilities or not, or if you are planning to, or then not planning. If you are here, I'm pretty sure either you have or you are planning to. Good. So looking forward for your answer. And then extending the box here a bit. So generative AI with our partnership to Elisa. And if you are unfamiliar with Elisa, it is still the largest telco service provider in Finland. Pretty similar to Telenor in Norway or Telia in Sweden, but it's Finland specific. But our partnership is cross-European, and we have customers where we deploy what I'm about to show you across our regions, across Europe, across the globe. So we're not picky about that. But the big picture, kind of what we've now just looked at, is the ServiceNow Gen AI, the Gen AI that lives on the Now platform. So kind of we looked at contextual answers, search, inquiries, deflecting the cases. ServiceNow has capabilities to summarize based on written feedback currently. And then you can create knowledge, and you can have ServiceNow's AI help in delivering code on your platform. Those are the three most current use cases of ServiceNow's generative AI controller. But then, of course, ServiceNow is not alone in the market. There exists a lot of different players who talk about Gen AI today. And I think the most famous one, or the most recognizable one, would be Microsoft with its OpenAI and Microsoft Copilot, as our customers normally understand. And there's a linkage between what an external AI can do on the ServiceNow platform and how does it support you. But before going into the details of what we have delivered, the partnership in short. So self-explanatory, we are the largest pure play partner of ServiceNow in Northern Europe. And we are the selected partner of Elisa to help in all matters of ServiceNow, not just limiting to this topic. And Elisa, on the other hand, is one of only 2 Nordic partners in the Microsoft Gen AI development program. So they actually take part in helping Microsoft deliver or develop these solutions. So their word carries a bit of weight. So they're not just here to implement something somebody else has invented. They are part of the inventive processes together with Microsoft. We have a joint R&D, or we've helped Elisa deliver these AI solutions, which are in use in their own ServiceNow instance. And together, when we talk to customers, we are both committed on business value, but we come from a different perspective. Elisa comes from the Microsoft background. We come from the ServiceNow background, but we understand that these 2 solutions need to coexist. And actually, by coexisting and integrating these solutions, we see a lot of benefits to our customers. But then, what is it that we have done together? And if you see this slide, you're probably aware that it has been generated with AI. So it's a very familiar style of pictures, of AI pictures that you see floating around in the internet. So Elisa and us, we have developed use cases, and these use cases have a set project, set delivery way, set governance, set capability from Microsoft, and set capability from ServiceNow for our customers, our joint customers, to take into use. And we've roughly divided them into three lanes, if you will, around employee experience, continuous improvement, and then collaboration part. And if you have a look at the use cases, I'm going to go into more detail on the next slide, but these use cases should seem familiar to you if you've been in a ServiceNow webinar. So using an AI chatbot, ServiceNow calls it virtual agent. Excuse me. Automatic email handler, ServiceNow calls it either issue auto resolution or something else. But use cases are fairly similar, but the idea that we have together with Elisa is that we have those pre-packaged use cases, we have the experience on how to deliver those, and we do it together. So some of the experiments that we've done either for Elisa in their service production or to our joint end customers. Excuse me, I think I'm losing my voice here. The first and the kind of the very common one is the actions based on the email. Kind of as I showed in my previous slides, we are looking at keywords and we are deducing based on that email what needs to be done. So you can do that on the ServiceNow platform with ServiceNow Pro licenses and issue auto resolution, but you could also do it using Microsoft if that's your selected strategy. Automatic phone call analysis. This is very interesting because in the tests and in the, let's call it proof of concept that we've done together with Elisa, we're actually able to get to a 99% clarity when we actually deploy the AI to listen in on the phone call. So the service desk agent doesn't need to type in the questions anymore. We can have the bot listen into the phone call and then write the summary automatically. There's a small caveat to that, and the caveat is always that if the end customer calls in from the train or the car where there's a bit of background noise, the AI is more susceptible to errors in interpreting what has been said. But if I talk from an office environment, we've reached 99+ levels of accuracy. So we're reducing or removing actually the human hand in writing down notes. Chatbotting or using the ServiceNow chatbot to extend to other data repositories inside the organizations. So in our deliveries, we have basically asked the chatbot of ServiceNow is that who is able to help me here? And then we are getting that data from the skills management plugin of ServiceNow or external repositories to ServiceNow on who is the person who's best equipped to support me. For example, might be helpful in a sales process. Who can help me deliver a proposal on AI? And then the AI would suggest, talk to this guy. He has experience in delivering those. He's within our AI team, etc., etc. But we can extend that information gathering perspective to external repositories like Microsoft Word, PDF, PowerPoint, any other database content, or we can actually have it scour the public internet for that matter. Customer requirements. We can put in customer requirements using the Copilot AI, and the AI can then suggest, if it has adequately learned, that this internal service is actually answering that customer requirement. Once again, this is helpful for external customer service or the sales function, but we can use the power of pre-built models to answer a question that which type of service should I deploy if the customer requirements are X, Y, or Z. The next bullet is very interesting, and it boils down to SLA harmonization, for example. So we can ask the AI that, what type of SLAs, what type of agreements do we have with different customers? And then we can have the AI list all the SLAs or a report on these are the variances of different SLAs we have. And then we might take that information and look at harmonizing those SLAs in order to be more efficient when it comes to servicing our end customers. And then last but not least, once again, automated knowledge base. So this is something I argue very strongly, is that we should start to abandon our knowledge management function. We should try to leverage automation as best we can, because the AI in question can create a knowledge article from scratch. That's where it actually initially started when you look at ChatGPT 2 or 3. And it can create the knowledge article, but it can also keep that up to date. Because nothing is more frustrating to our end users than finding a knowledge article or being suggested a knowledge article which is based on 2 years old data. So if you have that issue, then you've lost your end customer from that moment onwards. So we have deployed functionality where the AI, co-pilot in this question, is creating the knowledge article and then keeping it up to date. And then the knowledge manager is just reviewing the process life cycle. What is a suggested knowledge article? Does it make sense? And publishing that. So that is a big help in saving time for our customers. So that's a subset of the things that we've done together with Elisa. We have a lot of more of those use cases, presentations, or stories to share with. And we are more than happy to share those either directly, or then you can talk to your Elisa counterpart. But if you'd like to talk to us, we can then introduce Elisa to you as well, or take the customer meeting hand in hand. I think, Sasha, now is the time for the final poll, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I will publish it now. So what would you like to hear more about? We would like to know that.
Yeah.
Well, please submit your vote.
For the sake of clarity, Sasha, I will not answer this poll, so I will not skew the percentages. Cool. So that was my last slide. My call to action is that if we will reach out. If you want to focus on some of the topics, feel free to reach out to me or your Cloud People sales representative or the engagement manager that is servicing your project, and we'd love to help you forward. And my last slide is our upcoming events, which of course are fairly focused on Knowledge 24. So Knowledge 24 is happening within a couple of days in Las Vegas. Some of our customers are joining. If you are joining, we actually have a dinner there. Please register for the dinner. We've gathered a group of people to discuss over various topics in a restaurant in Las Vegas. And we can also help you understand the magnitude of the knowledge event that is this year. If you're not able to attend, we're going to do a highlights. The team that is there is going to look after all the presentations and then pick the best ones and then do a highlights from Knowledge 24. And then end of this month, it's going to be me again with my broken rally English. I'm going to talk about a different topic. I'm going to talk about what is the governance on how to run ServiceNow platform. What is a center of excellence? How do you staff a team? Who does what? And we have a lot of ready-made content, ready-made resume matrices, service descriptions, job descriptions. So it's going to be a handful, or it's going to be a very information-packed webinar. And I hope you take the time to sign up to that as well.
I will add in here that we, of course, are also present at the summits in the Nordics, in Helsinki, in Stockholm, and in Copenhagen. So please drop by our booth and say hi. We would love to meet you. And of course, you can see more on our website. All the events are there as well. Thank you so much for a really great and informative presentation, Hannes.
Thanks. And yeah, as said, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or your representative from the cloud people. We'd love to help you forward. With that said, I wish you a great weekend. Thanks for participating, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.